When I first joined Watson Institute, I was still determining what I was getting myself into. In the first semester, I felt lost. But during winter break, I could reflect on my life, decisions, experiences, and expectations for my personal brand. Initially, I wanted to focus on education and how I would create a positive change in my community. Still, after reflecting on my past, I realized that I wanted to focus on creating a website for victims of domestic violence and sexual assault in Argentina, my home country. So, what's my why? When I was 10 years old, I was sexually assaulted by my neighbor, and for many years I kept it to myself because I did not want to be judged or shamed. For many years, I kept that moment in the back of my head. Those experiences, as I like to call them, have led me to where I am now, in a place and environment where I could create change for people who have experienced or are going through what I did when I was just a young girl. I am not what happened to me, I am what I chose to become. Before I start, I want to provide a trigger warning. This presentation contains topics of domestic violence and sexual assault. Horacio Luis Tapias was sentenced to life in prison by the Córdoba justice for sexually abusing his daughter for 18 years, who later on committed suicide when she was only 21 years old. Her name was Alicia, and she lived only 30 minutes away from where I grew up. 6 out of 10 victims of domestic violence are women. 5 out of 10 victims file a complaint or a report with their local law enforcement. The problem is that in big cities such as Buenos Aires, there are far more resources. To be exact, 34.2%. When comparing this percentage to that of Cordoba, a smaller city, and the city where I grew up, there's only 5.4% of the overall resources available in the country. Is it not on? Thank you. Sorry about that. As we can tell by this data gathered in 2022 by the Supreme Court of Argentina, 34% of victims are young girls and young boys, 57% adult women, and 7% adult men. 47% of victims are abused by a partner or an ex partner, and 35% suffer abuse from a family friend or a close family member. Some existing solutions is that there are protocols implemented for law enforcement. To be exact, there's only one type of protocol implemented in the entire country for law enforcement to handle cases of victims of domestic violence and sexual assault. A gap in this is that these protocols are not being implemented for the needs of victims, as well as these protocols being extremely outdated. Another existing solution is that there are trained individuals that handle cases of victims of domestic violence and sexual assault with training provided by the Casa Rosada, which is the president's house. Another gap in this is that victims from different provinces might react differently to these plans and these trainings. Now, my proposed solution is to create a new and updated training module with the focus on a legal framework and human rights training. And lastly, to have gender sensitivity training for law enforcement. By enhancing training protocols in the province of Córdoba, focusing on the approach to handling cases of victims. This is Proyecto Milagros. Proyecto Milagros is a website whose mission is to provide resources and news articles for victims of domestic violence and sexual assault. In the first 5 years, we will be working in the province of Córdoba, focusing on the research and data. And in the next 10 years, we would like to expand our data and resources to other provinces. By addressing these shortcomings, we can work towards creating a more effective and supportive environment for these victims of these horrific crimes. I would like you to walk away from this room committed to protecting the women in your lives, your wives, your daughters, your mothers, and your sisters. For more information, you can scan the QR code for my website and my LinkedIn. Thank you.